found myself texting this girl, like, I mean, not texting, but Instagram, and this girl said something, and I Instagrammed my address, and I was like, this is where I'm at. And that's not even my personality.
This is in a DM.
Screw that, they know, let them have it, do it. Okay, I'm erratic, prove it. Never mind, got a mind that'll wind up with me in a lineup behind bars with these bars. Okay, my time's up. Team Freedom.
All right, you're in the field with the Trackstarz, Ryan Righteous, Sean Tanner, DJ Jeremiah. We have Natalie Lauren in the building with us. How are you?
I'm well.
We have wanted you to be with us for a while now.
Yes.
You are in our city. We're so glad to have you, man.
I'm happy to be here.
You are famous to us.
Yes.
Why?
You are.
Yeah.
You know
Okay.
that. You
No.
Yes.
Some people are famous for no reason.
Yeah.
That's
but
what I
you have
feel like
many
sometimes.
reasons. Many reasons.
Maybe.
We came out to your studio once and we were just kind of looking around like.
For real?
she gonna
Yeah,
walk
I
through
did
the
my
door.
listening party for my album at your studio.
Yeah.
Where was I at?
There.
You were
came
at
late.
an event and you
Yeah.
came late. You came
After.
late. Yes, you came after. You remember this?
And somebody was food.
There's
You had
food there.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Your spot is awesome.
I moved out of that spot.
Oh.
I know.
did?
It was point.
I've been telling
It was
people about
point. It was a lot of. It was a waste of money.
Really? It was so cool. I'm glad we got pictures there because it was amazing.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to unpack everything you do. Okay. So I don't know how far back you want me to go.
Just don't go back to my rap days.
Okay.
Just
We gotta go back to Susie Rock.
Don't.
I got Susie Rock right here in the
Don't
playlist.
go back to those days.
Well, how do you feel about those days?
They were good. They were good for what they were.
Okay.
I was young. Music started with rap for me. So, I mean, it was my formative years. So, I don't know.
Are you done with the mic?
Rapping? Oh, yes, forever.
Oh man.
And I don't have any desire to, I just feel like that's the only expression I knew then. So that was the only musical expression I really took to. But I'm much more of a songwriter than I, ever was a rapper, I think. And I'm just too old. I don't know. I just don't want to.
Question: did you ever do any of the Unashamed tours at any point?
No, I did. I opened once or twice.
But that means
for
you're coming
Lecrae.
back. That means you gotta come back.
No,
Like, nah, bro.
nah, that's not happening.
How hard is it to realize that my gifting is to write, not to be in the front? Like, that has to be a transition.
I think it is. I think it also comes with people around you. Just like people around me just really saying, hey, I think there's more opportunity for you to be a songwriter. And then for me, I'm very much a creative. So if I'm not feeling it, it's not happening. I just felt like it was too hard for me to create albums. I just wanted to create and not really be concerned with the audience and not be concerned with how I felt or the nuances of Christian hip hop or the nuances of hip hop or me being a female or all those things. So I just want to create. I don't necessarily have to put the music out. Like I have probably hundreds of songs that will never see the light of day.
Don't tell me that.
So I just want to create.
Hear 'em now.
Yeah, so I don't know.
So talk about how you went from Susie Rock to writing for some of the biggest artists ever. How did that even come about?
It's random. All this stuff is random. Like I don't have some. Literally, it's random. Like the Susie Rock stuff. Here in Tampa, me and KB were going to Without Walls church at the time. We had a rap ministry. We were part of a rap ministry, literally, like where people would come and we would like rap at Ybor City, like rap, share the gospel, and then people would come back to the church and we would have like rap class. We would share the gospel, pray, and like write raps. So we did that for years. And then at the time I was working doing graphics and web for Juanita Bynum in Atlanta. So that's how I got to Atlanta. She hired me, and then she actually, this and Truth were the first people to kind of offer me deals, but I actually ended up signing with Juanita, and at the same time I was in Atlanta, started working with Lecrae, and Lecrae and them were actually looking at KB and Chance at the time. And so the rap stuff started happening, but when I moved to Atlanta, I lived with Dietrich Haddon and his then wife Demita. And so my songwriting was kind of formed and perfected by just living with them. And that kind of opened the door for me to just understand writing holistically. And then in Atlanta, I met a guy named John. At the same time, Lecrae was at the barbershop with a guy named John. They meet. John had been producing some records for me and played some records for Lecrae, but John was also working on Iggy at the time. Her name was Regal, and she was like 17.
Oh wow.
She was like, yo, come help me develop this rapper. At the time she couldn't really rap or whatever, so it was like, she's always creative though. I won't say she couldn't rap, it was just different. So now I just got to know her and we became friends and we started working, and then fast forward all of these, like I'm kind of doing music but I'm kind of behind the scenes helping with that. And then one year ended up in London, and that just happened to be our first album, and that kind of opened the floodgates for all things writing. And then I got management, and management kind of took that and like ran through the door with that. But I mean, behind the scenes I was always writing, at home writing. Writing like every day. That's why I think I'm a stickler for it.
You have to write every day.
Yeah, just people who just are lazy. It's not an industry for lazy people. Like the people that I know who make it, even back then, FKI first, if you know, he like is a producer, dope producer, responsible for Post Malone, responsible for Iggy as well. He was actually working with us then too, and these are people who like writing every single day, making tracks every single day. Like I watched him go from being an engineer to A-list producer. So I don't know, I just kind of fell into situations, and I was able to press play. Like that was the biggest thing.
So writing every day, you don't get burned out at all?
Yeah, writing every day is not sitting down writing full songs every day. It's
just getting it out,
stretching your mind every day, absorbing new content, writing titles, writing melody, right? So when I say write every day, it's not necessarily lyrics. Sometimes like I probably have 100 memos in my phone of like I hear something clicking and I think of a beat and then I'm singing a melody. So that's a part of writing. I'm not necessarily sitting down writing.
You don't like, I know, for let's just be honest, we don't. Okay, we don't write every day.
Well, I don't know.
Just being honest.
Don't ruin my chances of working with Natalie one day.
She just said that if I record a memo, right?
So you do that.
Yeah, that counts.
Yeah, that counts.
Yeah.
All right.
But I'm gonna tell you
muscle.
what the fear is.
Every
though.
other day.
I think the fear is that, and I've been getting over this, is that everything I write in school, I never did rough drafts. I process it so much in my head that when it's out, right? And I'm always afraid that if I keep doing too much, it's not gonna be as good. Like I want it to be a gem. How do you know that you're not just giving away gems like that?
What do you mean though?
I don't know. I
Everything is not a gem.
To you. Okay.
So you gotta have some
So you don't mind
constructive criticism around you. So I'm talking like somebody that's like, this is ultra trash.
That's this guy.
Or something that's like, this is okay.
Yeah.
Right? Like you know when you have a gem. And sometimes it depends on what a gem is. Like sometimes I feel like I have gems and it's a gem to me and I'm like, this is crazy, this is nuts, because it expresses a certain place that I was at in life, or it's just special to me. It might not be jamming for everybody else, but it's still a gem to me. But then there's those ones where you know and you send it and they know, and it's just
you don't feel vulnerable. That moment of like you sent this thing you think is a masterpiece to Lecrae, and he's like,
because when I know, I know. And when I know I send trash, it's like moments where I'll write a record and I'll text Lecrae like, I remember me and Swoop was working on a record that ended up being on Swoop's album, but I sent it to Lecrae. Never Left. And I was like, this is nuts. And then Lecrae was like, it's nuts, but that ain't for me. And I was like, Swoop, keep this. But it's like, you just know.
Yeah.
Right? You just, I don't know. I'm like old school, so like, it's all in the heart. Everything is super emotional and extra emo for me, so I don't know.
That's amazing.
When you have a catalog and a resume like yours, how do you go through the selection process of who you work with?
I don't feel like my catalog is like, I just don't feel, I guess I'm surrounded by people who have, I was just watching the Quincy Jones documentary the other day, and then it was just like, this is catalog.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean? Like,
so you're comparing it to that.
Yeah, it's like, I think, I've sold records, so like, the Iggy stuff went platinum, some Chris Brown stuff went gold. It's like Lecrae stuff went gold. So it's like, there are records here and there, but I don't feel like I've had consistent bodies of work or records that I can just be like, hit, right? So I think to some, and it's subjective, right? But when it comes to working with people, it's do we vibe?
Yeah.
Like I'm almost kind of transitioning out of music.
Really?
To some degree.
Okay.
So if I'm working with somebody, I like have to love them, the person. Like I have to be so inspired by whatever it is that they're already doing. Like nothing from scratch. I'm not taking no artist from scratch. Like it's not happening. So if they're already doing something and it's super inspiring to me and it turns on that creative juice, it's like, okay, let's work right now. Like I'm gonna set my whole joint up in the house. If not, I'm just.
But transitioning out of it to do what?
So I'm really into what I call creative care. Okay. So just like I had poor creative habits, right? I was like A&R for Reach. I was A&R on like 6 albums, 6 artists at one point. Lecrae's album, KB's album, Halfway Andy's album, Aha's album. We had just signed Few. So like at that time I was director of A&R at Reach, right? Then we were at the same time we started Native North, the label, like, but we were trying to do it on the low. So then we had Swoop.
I remember.
You know what I'm saying? We had Swoop, and then I had another guy named Joseph that we were still working with, and then I was still writing, right? I'm in a publishing deal, so I'm still writing. So that's 8 artists, including myself, and those are 8 humans with 8 different lives, with 8 different problems and craziness and opinions, and like I just did not care for myself well in that time, and I started getting crazy anxiety, panic attacks, like all this type of stuff. So for me, what I realized is like there are no health, there's not a lot of healthy habits for creatives. Everybody feels like they gotta burn the midnight oil. I gotta stay up all night, especially in mainstream. When I'm in mainstream sessions, maybe like 2 or 3 months ago I was working with Usher, and we get into the studio at 10 p.m. Right? I'm in the studio till 7 a.m. And I'm just like, I can't do this.
That's a lot.
And you want to, because it's like Usher, right? Or whoever. It's like you want to be in the room and you want to work. And I'm just like, I can't do that. So what I've realized is like I've been kind of behind the scenes working on what I would say are creative daily routines for creatives.
That's good.
To hopefully be able to like kind of bring them into like these daily practices to help them have sustainable lives. Like I think spiritual health and emotional health and physical health and wellness, like we need it even in this industry, because people are trying to grind and they are sacrificing.
On this journey, I haven't noticed you get any pushback for working with mainstream, but have you had to deal with anybody
behind
saying
the
you
scenes
shouldn't be doing this?
Yeah, always behind the scenes. But I'm also not I'm not a comments person.
So you don't read it?
I don't care. I don't care because there's so many other, like, you can't know me. Like, people who are making comments is like, you don't know me. You don't know how involved I am in my local church. You don't know that I'm discipling my parents who just got saved a year ago. Like, you don't know me. You don't. Great. You can't. That's awesome. You can't pull my card for being in a session with Usher. Like, I've been on my face. Like, don't come for me like that. And you don't know what those sessions even look like. The content that's coming out of those things. Now, obviously, you know, early on in my career, I don't feel like I was as mature, and I had the filter, the proper filter to make the decision that I'm able to make now. But people get pushback. I remember times like Truth done called me, and I love Truth. Truth is my big brother. KB, me and KB are arguing a lot about records, what works, what shouldn't work, what is pushing the line a little too far. And I'm surrounded by people who are always pushing back, and I don't know. I just don't care that much, though.
That's good.
Wow. So what's keeping you spiritually grounded in those like rooms and in those sessions? Like, what's helping you to keep that like spiritual maturity?
Man, sometimes I totally fail in those spaces, and then a lot of times, I think early on it was harder because I was trying to prove something. I hadn't really settled into who I was and the reality that there's some spaces I'm just not going to be comfortable with. And some things they just won't fly. Like if I write a record and I hand it over to an R&B artist and they change a part of the verse, like you can't do anything about that a lot of times. We'll pull the record, and when you pull a record, then, you know, people are mad, you get blacklisted or whatever. So it's like there's been some sessions to where I've just done some things and I'm like, this is trash, and I'm tearful. But then there's other sessions where they went well, but that's on the front end. I'm like calling my pastor, like literally calling KB, like, yo, y'all pray today. I'm going in with this person and that person, and not that I would just get an opportunity to share, but just that I would feel content in who I am in the Lord. You know what I mean? And not feeling like I need to prove something, like I belong in the room, because that's really what it is. It's like me trying to prove that I belong in the room instead of just feeling like I belong here. You know what I'm saying? And I'm here and I can contribute what the Lord has allowed me to contribute. But when you get into the flex mode and like you just, I don't know, you start acting, doing dumb stuff.
Gotcha. How did you like understand like the creative part? Because I think that's something that like coming and we kind of talked about that about the mic, but going past the mic, but that being creative, because that's like, I'm like one of those things where I'm like a creative, and I think of stuff that's not music related. It could be sketches, it could be whatever, and it's just creativity. It's like, how do you get this out? Like, where do you go to get this type of things out, and not even seen, but just like, besides just writing, I'm guessing.
You just gotta create space. So like we have this, I kind of shared this yesterday. I have this little thing called Create Daily, and it's basically create space for God, create space for others, create space for yourself. And so those are the 3 ways that I can absorb for the sake of creating and then share, right? So it doesn't have to be social media. It's like, man, if I'm in my prayer time, if I'm writing a song and I'm writing a song to the Lord, I'm getting it out. You know what I'm saying? In that moment, if I'm sharing with friends, then I'm just a creative at large. So at home, I'm painting, drawing, writing, meeting with other creators. One of my friends who lives upstairs from me, she's a writer, went to Yale, this linguistics major. So like she comes down, says my stuff is trash, writes on it, we write songs. Just constantly creating without an agenda. That's the thing. Like I feel like my first love was never music, it's art. So like drawing and the fine arts was my first love. Growing up, my parents are like, you know, you ain't gonna make no money in that. So go to school. So I went to school for web development and stuff like that. But I don't know, just creating. Like I think we overthink it. It's just like create, like literally take time.
I was just telling KB that the native brand is so clean. It looks so good. Like, are you working on that? Like, who's behind the brand? Really,
we started it, but John Doulos, he lives here. He's our creative director. He's a partner of Native Supply. And anytime you see anything HGA native, it's John.
Tell him he's doing
John.
a great job,
He's
man.
killing it. He
looks so official and clean.
He's worked his butt off. Shout out to John. Yep. He's dope.
Yo, tell me this. How does it feel to, because I don't know yet. Like everything I've been a part of, I've written and I've had to do it myself, right? How does it feel to write a masterpiece and feel like you got something phenomenal, hand it over to somebody, and then watch them go ahead and deliver it? How does that feel?
You know, I try to. It's hard because sometimes I hide behind it, so I don't really sit in the moment of like, I don't think because I'm trying to separate myself from if this doesn't work. So like, Lecrae had this "Can't Stop Me Now" record, and the label was like, "This should not be a record y'all put out. Like, this shouldn't be it." And Medina had made this sample with this Sufjan sample, and a guy named Childish Major, who's blowing up now, wrote the hook, and it was like that was a record we were all proud of, right? And when it came out, like everybody's just kind of like, you know what I'm saying?
It's dope.
So it's like you can't. I try to not attach too much emotion to it, but like with All Things Work Together, that was one of the first albums that I kind of like produced, like full out, and it's just hard. Like I didn't really peer into what people were thinking because the reality is it's like nobody's gonna take the music just for the music. Like with an artist like Lecrae or whoever, like they're taking the music and they're taking the artist and his story and what he's been saying on Twitter and don't even know this man and like all these other things. Like nobody's just actually absorbing the art for the art. So if I actually lend myself to their opinions, I will be highly impacted. And so even with KB and with guys that we work with, we have like a little group, and if we think it's dope, we don't really care whoever else doesn't think it's dope.
Okay.
So once it makes it out of that little circle,
It's gone.
like we vote, so it's like KB could be like, I want this verse, and me and Joseph could be like, that verse is trash.
Wow.
And the verse doesn't make it.
Yeah.
So we vote, and once it makes it out, it's like we're happy that it came out. But the comments is like people are so bold too. Like
Yeah.
But they won't say it.
yo, one day I caught myself texting this girl, like, I mean, not texting, but Instagram, and this girl said something, and I Instagrammed my address, and I was like, this is where I'm at. And that's not even my personality.
This was in a DM though, right?
This was like on my comments. She was saying something. She was coming at one of the guys, and something happened. And the next thing I know, I was like, yo, I live in Atlanta. This is where I'm at. And I'm like, that's not even my personality.
Wow.
But I am that attached.
She didn't come on.
I deleted it because that was simple.
So I wanna get
that's cool. That's cool.
I want to get a reaction out of you. I want to get a reaction from you. When All Things Work Together came out and we were doing our review, and I listened to it for the first time, I came back to the studio the next day and I said, this album is on the Christian version of Lauryn Hill's Miseducation. What's your thought about that?
That's high, bro. That's too high. That's too high,
They
bro.
laughed at me when I said it.
Because that's too freaking high.
Every song.
I was like, did you hear the Miseducation?
But I did. But every song on that album,
wasn't
for
fair,
what
though.
we do, for what we believe in,
Yeah. It
wasn't fair, though.
that was every song was on point. There is not a skippable
was
song
amazing.
on that
Yeah,
album. You should
it
know
wasn't
that.
insane.
Everybody knows that. There's not a skippable
it's a great
track on that
record.
album.
It didn't perform that well. It didn't even perform. I think the numbers that people wanted it to or expected it to have, especially with the features
Yeah.
and
It
the
didn't do
tie
like an
and the.
anomaly.
Did that shock you?
No,
What
it
you were thinking
didn't.
about?
No, it didn't because I just think
There's some other reasons for that, don't you think?
marketing.
Is it just
Marketing and when I say marketing comes with PR,
Yes.
personal brand. So I think that body of work was like that to me, that's his best project
Yes,
ever.
thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
It is.
That's what I would say. I mean, I think
so-
second would be Gravity.
We gotta bring up the
But let's not make this I just think
we did. We already did.
Yeah, okay, so I just think
Lecrae
people
album.
wouldn't. I just think people won't absorb it. It's like
Yeah.
it's records that people couldn't absorb, but I don't know. I feel like that was a special project, and it was like well produced, and
Yes,
it was
it was
well
very
written.
good.
But are there any regrets? Because I know Lecrae got backlash for getting more involved in what's going on in socio-politics and all that.
Yeah.
Is there any regrets, even if the numbers dip? Do you? I can't imagine he feels bad about that. Like he was speaking up.
No, I think those are man. People don't know. Like he's a grown man.
Yeah.
There you go. Like you got some little white kids telling you stop talking about cats getting their hair blown off every other day by the police. Like why am I listening? Like that's what I'm saying. I don't belong in the
We
line
got
in
you.
the front.
Yeah,
Because
This is what we need.
I'm
though.
not.
I like you.
Like nobody is. Like how are you gonna tell this grown man to like stop speaking up about injustice? Like go like shut up.
We.
Yes,
You know what I'm saying? Like
Yes, I love
as
the
if
accent
justice
there.
is not a gospel issue. As if the gospel does not inform and affirm.
I was
justice.
shocked to watch the turning of the back that I saw. It just shocked me, and I'm like, dude, this is the same dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we talked to Lecrae years ago. It's not like he could change. He's just saying more of it.
People just they're kids. These are kids.
Are you sure it's the kids that did it or the leaders
No, it's
that
kids.
influenced them?
I think it's both, but we're talking people who are commenting and you
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
raging against the so-called machine.
It's bigger than music. This we're in a certain time, like the Trump thing,
Yeah, like-
white, black, Republican, Democrat. It's like you can't escape it,
Yeah.
and I believe it did affect that album.
Yeah. No, of course. But I'll take that. That's a win.
Yeah,
Like
yep.
numbers are never. I mean, you got people out here making trash doing numbers.
Yeah.
So for me, numbers is never really the win. Like me and Swoop were just talking about this with Sunshine and just kind of trying to figure out, has the wind left Sunshine? and it doesn't have legs and just it's performing moderately well and well compared to other albums.
Yeah.
But what the record meant to where he was in life and where we were, and the fact that we, he's our first artist, and what ownership looks like, and the type of deal we did with him, where it's just like we're co-owners and we're partners. Like all those things to me matter way more than like did a playlist pick it up and give you 1 million streams. It's like.
But just so you know, you got fans. So regardless of numbers, we paid attention. Y'all murdered that album.
Yeah, that album is
great.
You murdered it.
That's Swoop though. That's Swoop. Swoop was played a big role in the Lecrae album too. Yeah. So it's like.
So when I saw that, it was like, this is a native project. I saw y'all announce that. I was like, you guys are special. Whatever you got going on, keep doing it. It's special. And I pray that you share some of that specialness with us. Yeah. Because we really do see you guys like that. You guys are pioneers. You guys broke through a barrier that a lot of people didn't think was possible. And you guys
I don't know if we broke through it yet.
You broke through it.
I don't know.
You're the Jackie Robinson of this thing. Like you broke through it.
I don't know, man.
You broke through
I don't know if we broke through yet. I think we're breaking through.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Okay.
I don't think we broke through yet. Like high society was breaking through, right? Like high society, like you can see the trajectory of people's careers turning once we release music. Like it was evident. It was like, oh, now y'all want to talk about this?
Yes.
Okay. The doors swing wide open, and everybody's content is reflective of kind of some of the stuff we were doing.
Yes.
Right now, I don't know if I've seen enough response that would suggest that we have fully broke through. I think when it comes to entrepreneurship and ownership, we definitely have broke through.
Yeah.
Like, nobody's doing, I'm not gonna say nobody, but we are a black-owned business. We have 6 employees here in Florida. We are creating jobs, legitimately creating jobs with our own money. So this wasn't a company where we went and got alone. Like we took our pockets, emptied them out on the table, and said, all right, let's take this much and start Native Supply. Let's take this much and start Native Creative. If it doesn't work, we've lost thousands of dollars, right? And so for it to have worked and the brand to be doing what it's doing, then I think in that case we have broke through. Musically, as a label, I'm not sure. I think we are. I think this next Swoop album will be.
It's gonna be special.
Between him and Joe, I think it'll be.
Okay.
Yeah.
It'll be nice.
I can't wait. So are you still in Atlanta, right?
Still in Atlanta.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the last time we ran into Swoop, he said he was coming to the show. We're right there. So please remind me.
Just let me know. He is a creative too. That boy.
Yes.
His head be everywhere. So you gotta just.
Yeah.
But just so you know, we are here to support you.
Yeah,
and I appreciate it. I appreciate
We're
it.
in the city,
and we have an open door policy.
I know. I'm saying my homegirl Miracle. She
homegirl Miracle.
That's my girl.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll talk. But yeah.
Wait, is that something I don't
Hold on
know?
for a second.
We love Miracle.
How could we pray for you? Because you're going in places that some of us will probably never go. So how could we literally?
Man, I would just be impressed by the Lord. Like, just literally be committed to prayer and like the basic stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I think everything else works itself out if I am being prayerful, if I'm being faithful to like the basic stuff.
Yeah.
Like praying and in my word and in community. Like to me, that's everything lands and it's hinged on.
So we don't want to keep you because KB's about to go. So thank you so much. You're in the field with the Trackstarz. Ryan Righteous, Shantana, DJ Jeremiah. Let's go!
Hey guys, Miracle here. Thank you so much for watching that episode. Make sure you go below, like it, subscribe, click the bell, and make sure you follow us on all forms of our social media. Also, check out our website and be sure you spread the word. We'll see you next time.
We know not what we doing. Screw that, they know, let them have it, do it. Okay, I'm erratic, prove it. Never mind, got a mind that'll wind up with me in a lineup behind bars with these bars. Okay, my time's up.
Team Freedom. Yeah. We not through yet. All right. Trackstarz Music presents. Turn my volume up. Turn me off.